Welcome back for another video. 61 points from Andrew Moore in the blank Gameweek, which was a red arrow of just 4 places, but still 88th in the world. He's the current top ranked expert still in this series. Did you manage to beat the average expert score of 58 last week? The global average a lot lower, it was just 36. So lots of you have been asking about the best wildcard this week. What's the best team for the final 4 weeks? So I've got you covered in this one. We've got an elite manager wildcard, plus we'll take a look at all the usual goodies. For Gameweek 35, 60% of the experts are planning to roll, 18% making 1 transfer, 1 manager's making 2, 1 is making 3, and we've got 20% that have activated their wildcard. If you've still got your wildcard at this point, there isn't really any logic in waiting any longer. Like double Gameweek 36 is next week, so you could wildcard straight into it, but there are some great fixtures to target this week from the wildcard. And instead you could roll in the double, which is the approach that basically every top all-time manager still has their wildcard is doing. Many of us of course have used it already as well. So either way, who are the best players to buy and sell this week among the elite managers? The most bought player by the top all-time managers is Gabriel, 21% buying. And then it's Cherky of 19%, followed by Henderson, O'Reilly, Lacroix, Munoz, Bruno, DCL, Haaland, Raya, Rodgers, Thiago, Saka, Wilson and Van Heck. So yeah, the favourite 3 Palace assets are Henderson, Lacroix, Munoz. Arsenal have got really good final 4 games. They've got Fulham, then West Ham, then Burnley and then Palace. And that is a major advantage to wildcard as if you're using it now. Like for everyone else, it's quite tricky to get triple Arsenal, or in many cases there just isn't going to be a triple up at all in the remainder of the season. Over the last 6 game weeks, Cherky has registered 3.46 expected goal involvement, compared to Semenyo's 1.32 XGI, which is a significant difference, and it kind of lines up with what we're seeing on the eye test, isn't it? Cherky's on 32 points over that run to Semenyo's 24, and Cherky's 1.7 million cheaper as well, which can go a really long way, wildcarding or not. Though with free transfers, I will say it's probably not worth that switch, because it's not out of the question for Semenyo to find form again, and you used up a valuable transfer and you've lost points. On a wildcard, Cherky makes sense, but unless you're sitting on 5 free transfers, you're probably better off spending those free transfers on something else. The top 5 most sold players are Senesi, Mbeumo, João Pedro, Palmer and Semenyo. The top all-timers at wildcard and intending to go without Chelsea at all for the run-in, which is understandable given how Chelsea's season has fallen off the wheels, to be honest. Looking at the final 4 game weeks, which teams are expected to score the most and which are expected to keep the most clean sheets? Man City are top for projected goals of 8.2, obviously thanks to that extra fixture. The most common Man City triple up is O'Reilly, Semenyo and Haaland, which is kind of the balanced triple up. But make no mistake, like triple Man City attack could be the answer if you want an explosive end to the season and hoping for that big rank swing upwards. If you're able to have Cherky, Semenyo and Haaland, that could be better for all we know. Arsenal was second as well, and I think Saka's another one. It could be a huge differential if you need that late jump up in your league or rank. It is too early this week, I would say. He's just returned from injury and he's only come off the bench in the league and then the Champions League 2 times. But perhaps Gameweek 37, Burnley home onwards. It's worth noting that Chelsea are joint 3rd of Liverpool, so it's not necessarily bad to keep Palmer and João Pedro for the run-in. Arsenal are top for projected clean sheets, and double defence is going to probably be necessary to make any notable rank gains from an Arsenal clean sheet. Man City is second there, and then it's Brighton, Leeds and then Chelsea. So the big one, let's talk about chips. Only 4% have still got the wildcard after this week roughly, 2% with the free hit, 25% with the bench boost, 23% with the triple captain. 20% of the top all-time managers have got the wildcard active, and 10% of bench boosting this week. Sticky FPL has activated his wildcard. In the last 4 seasons, he's got 2 top 10Ks in there, plus 27k and 19k, elite manager, and his wildcard team is as follows. Raya, Van Heck, Gabriel, O'Reilly, Rodgers, Stack, Bruno, Cherky, Eze, Thiago and Haaland. And on the bench he's got Henderson, Wildcard, Lacroix and Munoz. I've managed to survive and even climb the ranks over the last 3 chip-heavy game weeks, despite just using my free hit in that time. Now it's time to go on the offensive for the final end of the season push with my wildcard this week that will also set up for a bench boost the following Gameweek 36. One of the key benefits of the wildcard is loading up on Palace ahead of their double. It may not seem like the most exciting set of fixtures, but their defence has remained strong in spite of their Conference League focus. and we've seen how DEFCON raises the floor in these weeks. Unsurprisingly then, it is the defence that I'm going to be targeting, given rotation concerns further up the field. Henderson, Lacroix, Munoz are my pick of the trio, most likely to start in both games in the double, coming with the upside of save points, DEFCON and attacking threat respectively. Another benefit is getting the right Arsenal setup for their all-important run-in. Again, defence is the area to target given their strength all season long, so Gabriel and Raya are the two of the first names in the squad. There should be goals to be had as well, but predicting where they come from is tough. My current draft is Eze as the third option after he was declared fit, though I'm going to be monitoring Arsenal news and the lineup predictions, and it's possible I'll leave the spot open for a Saka move later in 37 when they play Burnley, if he's fully fit and firing by then. There's an element of overlap with the popular Wildcard 32 squads of Man City, Leeds and Brighton picks remaining strong options given former fixtures. However, some lesser owned alternatives have emerged from those teams to take advantage of. Cherky, who's looked very threatening recently and his minutes have become more secure. Stack, who should slot back in the lineup after some minutes in the Cup and other Leeds injuries. And Wildcard, with rotation less of a concern with no midweek games remaining. I'm not seeking to go completely different for the sake of it though, and Haaland, O'Reilly and Van Hecke all remain strong picks for the bench boost and right through to the end of the season. And rounding off the team, two of the season-long top scorers remain despite slightly mixed fixtures. Thiago continues to offer the striker dream of minutes, penalties and open play threat, and he's going to be chasing the golden boot, while Bruno is going to be chasing an assist record of his own. Plus Rodgers is in for a short-term flyer for Villa's games against Tottenham and Burnley. Their loss at the weekend was big for maintaining their motivation in the Premier League, and they'll be keen to wrap up a Champions League spot in these winnable games. As with my chip strategy, I've converged to this draft in balancing upside and risk, and there should be the potential to fly, but it isn't without its hazards. Should be a fun end to the season either way. And lastly, Wader is one of those bench boosts in this week. He set up for it in advance, and his team is Raya, Collins, Gabriel, Goodmanson, Zobo and Bumo, Bruno, Rodgers, Thiago, Haaland and Watkins, and the bench currently is Dubravka, Dewsbury Hall, Richards and Alderete, and he shared some quick thoughts. I've got 3 free transfers and I'm going to be using them this week, where I'll be bringing in Justin for Goodmanson, Semenyo for Mbumo and Cherky for Szoboszlai, once my Villa players hopefully get through the Europa League semi-final unscathed. The remaining fixtures for Man United and Liverpool aren't great, which makes it an easy decision to bring in 2 City midfielders for them doubling the 36. It's between O'Reilly and Cherky for the third City spot, where I'm going to be going with Cherky, with him being the more exciting pick, but there's obviously a slight benching risk with both players. When looking at the remaining fixtures, Gameweek 35 looks to be the best week for me to use the bench boost chip, on paper anyway, although like a lot of people it's my least favourite chip. Another reason why I'm using the chip this week is that I'm currently 22 points ahead of one of my mates in our mini league, where he's still got his triple captain chip, which he'll be looking to use on Haaland in the double game week in 36. So I'm hoping to increase the points gap by using the bench boost now, which may cast doubt in his mind then for 36, as he knows I'll be captaining Haaland then too. Let's hope he doesn't see this video. Thanks guys, best of luck with the chips. So a brief look at captaincy next. For 35, there's actually 7 names surprisingly. Haaland, the heavy favourite, he's still 73%, and then it's Bruno 21%, 2 O'Reilly captaincies, and then we've got 1 for Gabriel, João Pedro, Semenyo and Thiago. Who are you guys going with this week? I mean, there is an argument to be made, and you've probably heard it already elsewhere. Bruno's desperately seeking that assist record rather than goals potentially, so maybe he'll be a bit less selfish. That might not be true. I mean, it's not like he's not going to shoot if he's in a good position. There's not really a good option for a pass, and he will find himself in good areas, that's for certain. Haaland faces Everton away, Bruno home to Liverpool. So let's take a look at the updated experts team for Gameweek 35. It's Darlow in goal. It's a 3-4-3 with O'Reilly, Senesi and Struijk at the back. In midfield, Palmer, Tavernier, Semenyo and Bruno. And up front we've got Haaland, João Pedro and Calvert-Lewin. And on the bench it's Verbruggen, Hill, Gross and Van Hecke. How many players have you got from the experts team? Not quite enough transfers in for Gabriel to earn himself a spot back in the team, but I think he should be back in by Gameweek 36. If you're low on transfers, it really doesn't feel pressing to buy Gabriel if you've already got the likes of O'Reilly, Senesi, Hill, Struijk or Justin etc. in your defence. Like, they've all got strong fixtures this week, and that extra transfer could be significantly more valuable in 36 for all we know if there's any surprises. Like, let's say Haaland picks up a knock this game week and he's going to miss the double. It'd be an absolute disaster, but if you've got 2 or more transfers, then you've got a free path to downgrade him and swap a midfielder to a City mid. You never know like what's around the corner in FPL, and it is a juggling act at times between, you know, kind of selfishly grabbing some points potential or passing up on them and hopefully gain more later. At the start of the video, 60% we said are rolling, that's exactly why. So that brings us to final thoughts and tips. Here's what the top all-timers wanted to say to you. So yeah, Sticky FPL, he had his wildcard active and he had triple Arsenal as wildcard, but FPL Blue Light has got his active as well and on a slightly different setup. On the wildcard this week he says triple City, triple Palace, all defensive due to rotations, just double Arsenal, and there are others of upside, leaving the final Arsenal spot open for Gameweek 37, like Rodgers to Saka or DCL to Gyökeres. I think it could be worth waiting in case of any injuries or rotation around the Champions League semis. I've owned Bowen since Gameweek 17 and I'd love to hold him, but with 3 free transfers I like chasing the upside of DCL in 35, Wildcard in 36 and Gyökeres in 37 plus Bowen in 38. Remember to play it your way. Best of luck everyone for the last 4 weeks. Lewis raises a really good point on Arsenal, Man City and needing that goal difference. He's on a wild card as well, and he says, I've gone for triple City and double Arsenal attack. They need goals. Bench boost 37 is where I'm going to drop one of the Palace defenders. This Gyökeres draft only works if Havertz is out. And lastly, Milky Way Kid says, if possible, rolling your transfer this week seems like the most sensible strategy. With Crystal Palace's double in 36 and most teams' lack of Arsenal assets for the run-in, having multiple transfers next week could maximise points over the final 4 game weeks. Good luck all. And lastly, Neil says, keep it simple. A good one to finish on. Thank you very much for watching. We're going to be live for a deadline stream Friday at 4:30 UK time. See you then.